The Blue Jays get one and threaten beyond that in the bottom of the ninth, but Baltimore manages to win the finale of this series by a score of 5-4.
Well, Blue Jays, they just showed their heart. They get down to 2 outs and nobody on. Gavin Biggio walked. George Springer hit the first pitch he saw off the fence in center. Vladdy walked, and then Bo. I mean, what can you ask for? You want a chance to win a game, you want Bo at the plate with the runners on. But it was a terrific effort by Baltimore. Jordan Romano unfortunately suffers his first career lone save here and takes the loss, but the Blue Jays still win 2 of 3 against Baltimore.
And we'll get it going again Tuesday night in Philadelphia, and we'll have it for you. Time now for Blue Jays Central. Once again, Jamie and Joe.
We're going to get you to the Mariners game upcoming here on Sportsnet, but the theater that took place here under the roof at the Rogers Center, let's go over some of the highlights from a game that was pretty well riveting from start to finish, started by Alek Manoah, and what a play here, Joe, by Teoscar Hernandez.
Yesterday's game started out similarly with a good catch in left field by Tapia.
And so Manoah on the mound, and he's facing Gunnar Henderson with a couple of guys in scoring position. Gets the big strikeout there as he gets out of jams, it seems constantly. Why is one of the best in the business. Bichette with the base hit here. And here comes George Springer sliding in safely. Gives the Blue Jays a 1-0 lead. Here's something you don't see very often, but it did happen. Matt Chapman lines into what ends up as a triple play. Remember, 2 on, nobody out, and that's how the Orioles get out of it. So the rare triple play keeps it a 1-0 game. Mateo in the 4th drives one into the corner here and left. That ties the ball game at 1. But again, Manoah was able to get out of it without anything else. Danny Jansen hits one to Timmons in the 4th and gives the Blue Jays a 2-1 lead, his 13th of the year. What a September he's having at the dish. And then by the 7th inning, here comes Vladdy. And yet another one of those arcing home runs, Joe.
Little slider out front. Vladdy can do crazy things, and he showed it right there.
Number 29 on the year for Guerrero. Things got oh so interesting. Sitting on 34 saves, and this a 1-run attempt. And what do you know, as Espinal vacates because the runner was going from first, he probably would have caught that baseball and created a double play, but as it turns out, it was first and third. Here comes the go-ahead run as Rutschman is just tremendous as a hitter, drives in a pair. Baltimore takes the lead. It got so interesting here as Springer, Joe, almost hits it out and ties the game.
I was watching from here, Jamie. We have a very good angle. I thought that was just going to clear the fence, but instead, you're going to need another knock.
And you know you've got guys coming up that can do it after him, like Guerrero, who draws the walk, and Bo, who's been so good. But ground ball to third, ball game over. And this one was so enjoyable to watch and experience. If your heart was racing, you're not alone. Still, the Blue Jays take 2 of 3 from Baltimore, which is pretty darn good considering where the Orioles sit in the standings right now. And this Blue Jays team has not lost a series in about 3 weeks when they got swept here at home by the Los Angeles Angels. Let's focus on Jordan Romano, who's been so good. The last time he blew a save was in Minneapolis in early August, the game that Whit Merrifield came home and eventually scored a winning run that was reviewed and almost called off. I guess we can't expect perfection from him all the time, considering, as Dan and Buck were mentioning, if he pulled that save off, that would have been his 20th one-run save of the year, Joe.
Unfortunately, Jordan Romano proved today he's a human being here at the Rogers Center. He has been so good. And we spoke about Jordan today earlier on Blue Jays Central. And I talked a little bit about his fastball slider combination, of course, the high velocity and the different shapes to his slider, but also the unpredictability. He's right around 50-50 with those pitches, but becoming a little bit predictable at times, trying to flip that first pitch slider in there to get ahead. The pinch hitter Stowers was all over it, and we may see more and more opposing hitters do this. Now, can you flip one in there to get ahead? Sure, but then this is a tough play. Watch Espinal. He is going to cover the bag on the steal, so of course it's a game of inches. It's a game of tactical decisions by a manager, and Brandon Hyde moved the runner. You just never know if he's not moving on that plate. But there again, first pitch slider, just roll it in there. Rutschman missed it, but then he got a fastball at 98 at the bottom of the zone. Still not sure. That's a big shift against a guy who seems to really go the other way very well. We saw him do it a couple of times against the Blue Jays. So now Jordan's battling, you give it up, but it's just one of those things for Romano. It may be a thing. We talked about earlier about that first pitch slider, that get over pitch to steal a strike, and you can do that. But the more you do things, this is the major leagues. They're going to be on you. It looked to me like a couple of left-handed hitters there were on to maybe that first pitch slider just to get me over pitch, that I might be on it. More teams may be doing that too, so Jordan may have to mix it up a bit.
There was a point in this game where we weren't even sure George Springer was going to stay in based on getting hit in the elbow, but he did, and he factored in the ninth inning. 2 quick outs for Bautista, and suddenly Cavan Biggio comes in as a pinch hitter with one job. Did he get it done?
And he comes up, and I said to you, Jamie, I said, I'm not sure I like Biggio against 100+ miles per hour, but you said, well, he could draw a walk, and you're right. Good eye at the plate, and that's exactly what he did to bring the tying run to the plate. You turn that lineup over for George Springer and company, you'll take your chances. I thought Springer had it just coming up short into right center field right there, catching that hanging pitch from by Bautista, and then Vladdy is able to draw the walk, which is another good plate appearance. Do you want anything else with the game on the line but Bo Bichette at the plate for you? I'm not sure about you, but I don't. Right. That's the guy you want, and that was best versus best. Bautista won that battle against Bichette, but the Blue Jays did everything they could and continued to show that they are not out of games with this offense. Had a tough time getting to Kramer, the starting pitcher, but they seemed to amp it up as the game went on and just came up a hair short.
Man, these next few days are going to be so exciting as we look ahead to the initial days of October when the regular season will come to a close. The Blue Jays are going to take tomorrow off and then start a series in Philadelphia on Tuesday. Before they head out of town, let us send it up to the broadcast booth and visit with Dan and Buck.
Jamie, well, the Blue Jays don't get the sweep, but that should not take away from another terrific performance from Alek Manoah, which people have come to expect basically every 5 days out.
Yeah, absolutely. Alek Manoah has become one of the premier pitchers in the American League, and the Blue Jays see it every single time he takes the mound. Today, he had much better stuff than we saw last time out. He held the Orioles to a run on 4 hits over 6 innings. And I thought the most impressive inning of his outing was in the 5th inning. After the Blue Jays had scored a run, he has Rutschman, Santander, and Henderson, and he retires the 3 of those guys on 9 pitches. And that's what you want. You want a shutdown inning after your team gives you the lead. Unfortunately, the Blue Jays couldn't make it stand up. It turned out to be a heck of a game. And Baltimore, they still say, we're in this fight yet, boys. Don't give up on the Orioles just yet.
Manoah's next one will be at some point next weekend down in Florida against the Tampa Bay Rays as the games continue to get bigger and bigger.
That they do, gentlemen. Okay, let's just quickly check in on the Brewers and Yankees. Early on in this one, Colton Wong with a swing and a drive to right field. A 3-run home run off Garrett Cole. Milwaukee out to an early lead, but the Yankees didn't stay behind very long. Judge in the 3rd, his 58th as he gets closer to Maris's mark. Rizzo, the next batter, he knocks one out. And so here come the Yankees. And by the 7th inning, they had led 9-4 when Judge hits his 2nd of the day. That's number 59. He might be beyond 61 by the time they get to Toronto. It's 10-4 right now for the Yankees. So they should then increase to a 5.5 gap over the Blue Jays if they hang on to defeat the Brewers. And yes, the Blue Jays lose a little bit of ground today to the Orioles, but over the course of the 3 games they played, they actually added some space. It's going to be fun to watch over the next little while. So why don't we continue to, as the Mariners are trailing the Angels 3-1 in the top of the 4th. Off we go to Southern California. Thanks for watching Blue Jays baseball.